in open wireless LAN. On the other hand, your scenario seems to be like all the data that could be collected could be sold anyways. So where's the interest? Is the interest governmental, at the government who wants to collect the information? Or is it a kind of business interest in information?
Okay, there are a number of interests coming together, so we can only pick out step by step. We can say the government has an interest, well, not actually effectively fight against terrorists. That could be an interest as well, but that the society, the public, has the feeling that the government is doing its best. So they say we do things that might be useless, but they look good. You know, they look like activity. That's my point of view. You might have a different point of view, but I think this is, you know, just doing something. And some people might say, oh yeah, that's effective, that's effective. Oh yeah, storing all information, that could help us. It does not. But for most of the people, not you, but the rest of the world, this seems to be a very good thing. They say, well, if somebody has nothing to hide, he has not to worry. I'm not using a computer at all, but that sounds good to me. So that's the one thing. This morning I gave you another example, phishing. We need a law on phishing. It's not criminalized right now. That's bullshit. We don't need a law. We have it, but it sounds much better to say we need a law. We're dealing with this issue. We take it serious. So that's the one thing. The second thing, industry. They have their own interest. They have lobby groups that might influence the politicians, but they have a completely different interest. They want to find out who buys what stuff, and we mentioned this, and somebody else mentioned this morning. They said this information can be very valuable, 10,000 euros maybe one day. If you really can give somebody information, detailed information about a potential client, that would be wonderful. Okay, and there are more interest groups. So the providers are not sure what they want. I mean, as a provider, I would say save money, offering a cheap service, but they're storing the information, and they're paying a lot of money for the storage. So I don't know. I'm not a provider, but that was just a general overview. I think it is very important that you discuss this much deeper. I just want to give you some arguments. Yeah, next one, Anonymizer. I mean, I'm using it because I don't want everybody to know who I am, what I'm doing on the internet, and I think it is good if people are using it because even for a legal purpose, you know, if there are more people using these services for legal purpose, it's not always like somebody says, oh, he's using that service, oh, it must be criminal. So I'm using it, I'm promoting it. Question is, can they help us? I don't know yet. We will see if they can help us. If they are able to, they're based in Europe right now, if they're able to install or mix up a system that is saving us from data retention. It's not sure, but this is the next step. So that could be an option for legislative attempts as well. They say, well, no anonymizer anymore. They are hiding the identity, that's bad, you shouldn't hide your identity. You're not allowed to take off the registration of your car. This is very much similar, and therefore we say a ban on this. And it's not an intensive discussion going on right now, but they're already discussing it. So that's the next step. Okay, it's already not very famous, the service. You know, you always look like somebody who's exchanging child pornography or something like over the web. If you're using it, but you know, it has a bad feeling if you're using it. So I would just like to pick up the next point, is encryption. You know, why do you want to encrypt? Everybody's asking you. If you buy PGP, people are asking why. Why on earth do you need PGP? So this is the next step. You know, if they find out, let's say there are terrorists communicating, but I don't know what they are talking about, then one of the politicians will show up and say, well, next step, we need to know what they're talking about. And they will find out that it's very easy to use encryption software. I'm quite sure we have this law one day. And then we will stand here again, somebody else will stand here, or me with gray hair, and say, well, it's the same situation we had before. There is a law and can easily be circumvented. So encryption, that will be the next topic. If they find out terrorists are intensively using encryption technique, they will say, no. We need a restriction. State needs to be able to decrypt this information to save you all, millions of people, because of a ticking bomb. Or you have to install a backdoor. So we had this discussion before. It was completely finished. And if you would have asked me about 2 years ago, will we have a discussion about encryption technology again, I would have said, no. It's all political parties said, no, we don't want this. But after data retention, after this experience, I'm quite sure this could come up on the agenda next week. and we will talk about data retention, and we have data retention because of fight against terrorism. So that could be the next option. I think I have, yeah, just one more. I was talking to a guy from the police, and he said, oh, no, I cannot really investigate the way I want. I want different ways to investigate. For example, with regards to child pornography, they've just updated the procedural law. In the past, the police was only allowed to download child pornography to see if they really exchange child pornography. Right now, they're even allowed to offer child pornography. So this is a change. I mean, it's a good question. Should the police participate in the dissemination of child pornography or not? But at least this is an investigation instrument they really need, because if you want to get access to one of these exchange circles, you really have to offer them something, otherwise you are out. The police was always out. Now they have a new instrument, and they're already waiting for new ones. Keylogger. They really want to install keyloggers with regard to encryption. They want to use viruses. They have a long agenda, a long list of, not all policemen, but a number of them who are working in this area. They say, we want more. We want more tools. And this will be an interesting development as well to follow this and to try to identify it and how to stop it. And it's, for me, as somebody who's not really into technique that much, it's really frightening. It's frightening what they're planning to do. And I'm feeling pretty comfortable right now, but I'm not quite sure whether I'm feeling comfortable in 5 or 10 years when they have all installed all these instruments they are looking for. Well, that's not the moment where I'm leaving the room, but I would like to thank you very much for your attention. If there is something you would like to send me and not mention right now, send me an email. If there is something going on where you think maybe somebody who's teaching at the university should know and maybe publish about it, or maybe, you know, maybe he doesn't even know, send me. If there are cases going on, if you know, well, there was somebody who has trouble with the police or because of some stupid reasons, let me know. It's just would be just interesting for me, because I'm sitting at a place, you know, doing very much theoretical side of, and it's very important to keep the touch with those people who are really in touch with the problems. Otherwise, I'm writing about things that are not up to date anymore. So there are a number of. Oh, there is one remark now. One of the guys was asking for a remark. Yes, please. Where's the microphone? Okay. It's about. I think it's a remark about. The data retention and the position of the courts.
I just wanted to say, I'm Tonnerre Lombard from FFII. We're currently setting up a process against the IP, no, what was it? Data Retention Directive, I'm sorry, which is, well, there are two bases to fight against it. One is that it was made in the wrong fashion. It's a security directive, so the full agreement of the Council would have been required, and also it's in contradiction with one of the, well, with Article 8 of the European Human Rights Convention. And if you think that you're affected by this directive, and if you know companies who think, well, we need this directive eliminated, otherwise we can't do business or whatever, for example, if they're an ISP and have to pay a lot for data storage and they're a small ISP and they can't survive then just tell them to contact the FFII. We're going to help them through, well, to get what they want, if we can do this still after all.
Well, I hope you're successful. Well, are there any more questions? Yes, here we go.
I would like to bring to your attention the very different topic that almost everyone is carrying a mobile phone at his free will, and that is a perfect tracking device. And I would suggest to get prepaid phones and on a regular basis switch them with friends to make data retention more difficult.
Yeah, more of these tips, please. No, it's excellent. But just if we are talking about mobile phones, prepaid phones, they were planning a registration for that as well. They are trying to force people who are who are running these cards, that if they buy these cards, they have to show their ID. I mean, it doesn't help if you share them, but this is a very good idea. I mean, we are stupid enough. I mean, when we're talking about the cell phones, if you think about 1984 and compare it to what we are doing right now, that we're really carrying the mobile phone that makes it possible to trace our route back through town, this is really stupid. I mean, what we are doing is really, that's ridiculous. So talking on the one hand side of privacy protection, on the other hand side, carrying around one of these mobile phones is absolutely stupid. But there are options to use a mobile phone without really getting a route trace back. But you know, I'm not feeling, for some reason, that might be the same with the next generation when we have data retention. They might really not feel touched by this, but this is bad. This is no positive development. Thanks a lot. There is another question from the back.
Well, in Germany, it's allowed to lend a phone to a friend, but it's not allowed to sell them the SIM card. You can't sell them the SIM card because it's simply not allowed. But if you want a mobile phone, you can get a postpaid card like from Klarmobil and let them send the card to a dead mailbox and get it from there. Then you have an anonymous card.
Yes,
but if you sell this card to a friend, then you will get in trouble.
I don't think so. I really have to say I didn't follow that until the end because I'm not into this telecommunication thing. But I think there is no force of a registration. And I mean, if you're walking, if you're on one of the flea markets, you can buy hundreds of them. So I think there is no need for a registration yet. They try to implement it. It's not implemented yet. That's the last thing I knew, but maybe you check this one. There are a number of other questions, and there were some up in the front. We maybe start in the back.
Yeah, I just want to add a little thought because the current thing that the RFID passports would be a great deal to add this to TCPA, and we have a RFID reader in every PC, and so you can only allow people to use PCs with their RFID passport, which is currently in Germany since November. You get your Reisepass, I don't know what's called, with RFID ID and passport. And the next thing is that they add additional stuff, and I think this is a great potential for having more control over people.
Yeah, I hope it takes them some time and you develop how to crack the system really intensively, and then you can set up your own ID and your own RFID chip. This is, by the way, a stupid development what they're doing right now. I mean, it's comparable to the music industry. They had a physical object, and they moved away from the physical object, from the analog thing, to the digital thing. And then afterwards, they found out, it was maybe a mistake because now everybody can copy it. So this is a strange move. It's not a clever move. And we see the same development right now. I mean, we still have the physical passport, but you know, these digital information can be alterated by you, can be changed without people really recognizing it. And I'm quite sure there are clever guys sitting on the other hand side, and I'm not talking about the government right now, who know how to manipulate it and who will be the kings of the future because they're able to change their identity however they want, because there will be nothing like an ID anymore. Maybe there is not even a physical picture in the passport anymore, but only some data, and if you're able to change them, you're the king of the world. Okay, next step. There is someone...
Yeah, I just wanted to say regarding the directive and the mobile phones that the directive might, one of the conclusions from the directive might be that your location is also recorded when you make a phone call with your mobile.
Well, the cell is recorded, therefore at least
yes.
Yep, it is.
It's quite close already.
Okay, there are a number of more questions up here and up there.
As I know, it is in a few years that it have to be in every cell phone in the States there's a GPS-Empfänger. No, a GPS-Empfänger inside. Yeah. And then I think I have one question about the JEP. It's possible to present the service with the new JEP client? And is it any trouble for the law when I do something like that?
I didn't really get the question, but maybe...
Okay, if you download the new software, the JEP software, then you can open the connection for use for other people, so that the service is going via your client.
Interesting. I'm not an expert in this area, so but there is one. There is one.